In today's session, we talk about emotional intelligence, and we have Pastor Mercy who is going to take us through this session after the break. Don't go too far.
Hello, my name is Muikia. I'm glad to be here to share with us on this show concerning a worship leader, as we build worship leaders that are more like Jesus Christ. My topic today will be addressing the emotional stability of a worship leader. And in the psychology world, we call it emotional intelligence. And so what are we talking about? It is the capacity to be aware of your own emotions and manage them. That is what we are trying to talk about as a worship leader. We are all human, and we have emotions. And the emotional part of a human being is very key, even in the music ministry. Music can even be used as a therapy, just to appeal to the emotions of a human being. We have even examples in the Bible, like where Saul was depressed and was able to get some healing through music by David. So we are just looking at that aspect because as a worship leader, you need to be emotionally stable for you to be able to minister effectively. Therefore, we are going just to look at a few things. And I'm not disputing the work of the Holy Spirit in managing our emotions, but I believe we have a part to play, each one of us. The Holy Spirit has his own part, we have our part to play. Therefore, I'm just going to check on a few things that entail emotional intelligence, even as a worship leader, as a team, in the worship team. How stable are your emotions? We are going to look at 5 aspects of emotional intelligence. The first one is self-awareness. Self-awareness is that ability of knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses. What are you good at? Which areas do you need help? And I believe as a worship leader, it is very important for you to know yourself, know your weaknesses, know your strengths, so that you don't force yourself into doing something that you are not wired for. So I believe that as a worship leader, you need to know yourself. There are so many ways that you can try to know yourself. There are many personality tests that you can do so that you know which areas can I flow. I'm sure when you flow in the areas that you're strong at, there will be no struggle in your ministry. You will not also be a burden to the other people trying to push you around. So it is important for a worship leader to ask yourself, do I know my strengths? Do I know my weaknesses? Do I know my limitations? Do I know my boundaries? So that you can be able to minister in your line, and where you need help, you're open to be helped. So self-awareness is a great key, even in emotional intelligence or stability as a worship leader. The second thing we are going to look at is self-regulation. Maybe in the spiritual circles, we call it self-control. And this again is the ability to control your emotions, ability to put your emotions under, so that they don't take the best of you. In a team, you can be sure if everyone just allowed the emotions to take over, the team will not be very effective. And even as a worship leader, it is important to take charge of your emotions. Like I said, the Holy Spirit has his part. And actually, self-control is one of the fruit of the part of the fruit of the Holy Spirit. And you can see it is called self-control, not Holy Spirit control. So as a worship leader, as much as you have the Spirit of God within, then you also need to take charge of your emotions. Think before you speak, think before you act. There's some tests that you can do. Before you say something, you ask yourself, is this thing true, first of all? The second thing you ask, is it beneficial? And the third thing you ask, is it necessary? That is a conversation that should be within you before you say anything or act, especially as a member of a team. And in this case, as a member of a worship team. So even the Bible instructs us in James 1:19 that everyone should be slow to anger, but quick to listen, and slow even to make some of these statements, slow to speak, but quick to listen. And that is what we are trying to talk about, self-regulation. Ask yourself, am I in charge of my feelings? Am I in charge of my emotions and my moods? Because each one of us, as a human being, I said, we have emotions. So it is very important to make sure that your emotions are under control so that you become a member of the team that is balanced in your emotions. If you're imbalanced in your emotions, I'm sure you're going to cause trouble in the team. Sometimes you find some unstable worship team leaders who even get annoyed on stage. Sometimes it's not just about what people are not doing. You find someone even would quarrel on stage and say, why are you not lifting your hands? Why are you not praising? If you check deeper, there is an issue there about their emotions and being in charge. The third thing we look at is the internal motivation as a major aspect of our emotional intelligence. What is internal motivation? We are talking about that thing that drives you from within. As a worship leader, I believe our greatest motivation should be our love for God as we lead people in worship. But you find that there are some people who are in the worship team for wrong reasons, and their motivation is wrong. Sometimes it could be a need that they have within themselves. They are trying to have it met in the team by joining the team. For example, you can find somebody joining the worship team just because maybe in their upbringing or in wherever they are at the moment, they are never appreciated by anyone. So they are there in the worship team because every time they sing, it will be, let us give a clap to the worship team. And they feel good. The affirmation beat. That is the reason they're in the worship team. They could also be people in the worship team because they want to be associated with the man of God. So there's that need to connect with the significant people. So if you're in the worship team for wrong reasons, and there are many others, some are there because of monetary reasons, and if that need is not met, then you become frustrated and you become a problem to the team. So ask yourself, what is my drive? What makes me join this team? What am I doing here? Is it meeting my own needs, or am I meeting the need of the congregation, or even the calling that God has put in my life? So it's very important to evaluate yourself, do a thorough check, and ask yourself, why am I in the team? What motivates me? So that is the third thing we look at in the emotional stability of a worship leader. The fourth thing we look at is empathy. Empathy is that ability to understand other people's emotional makeup and also fit into their shoes. As a worship leader, whether a team leader or just a member of the team, you need to be a person that can empathize with the other people. Recently, I saw something on the social media that asks, what if? And sometimes we are quick to judge people, and we don't know what they are going through. So empathy is a key factor for any even worship team leader, the lead person. You could have a member that is struggling with their lives, but every time you're there trying to make them, you're asking them, why did you miss practice? And you're hard on them. You're not empathizing with them. You're not trying to fit into their shoes. And maybe they're having a challenge. That article was talking about, what if this person that you're expecting to reach out to you is also waiting for someone to reach out to them? What if this person is struggling with something? So empathy is a very important aspect in our emotional intelligence. And we cannot be able to serve people if we cannot feel with them, if we cannot be able to fit into their shoes and try to understand the situations they're going through. Lastly, the last aspect of emotional intelligence we are looking at is social skills. And we are social beings, human beings, and the church is a family. If you're in a family and you do not have people skills, the ability to connect with people, then you're going to hurt people. And I find the tendency among worship team members to, isolate themselves from the rest of the church. Sometimes maybe the feeling of we are the people on the pulpit, that aspect of making someone feel like the other people that are doing ushering and other ministries maybe are lesser. And so you'd find a team, worship team, group, just isolating themselves and staying aside and not connecting with the other people. That shows a lack of emotional intelligence. You cannot lead people into the presence of God if you cannot connect with them as people. You have no business. How do you lead someone that you have no relationship with? So I want to challenge us as worship leaders. There are those 5 aspects. I have talked about self-awareness. Ask yourself, do I really know myself? If you need to do some tests, do them and find out. There's the aspect of being empathetic, feeling for others. There's the aspect of even looking at the social skills and the people that you're relating with. How are you relating with people? Look at all the aspects, self-regulation. Think about how you're in control of your emotions. And that way, you're going to be a good leader. I want even to think that as a leader or a worship team member in the team, if you have your emotions in control, then you're going to be a person that is easy to lead, a person that can accept criticism, a person that can take responsibility, a person that is able to move on after making mistakes. You are a person that is able to share feelings of others. You are able to solve problems, and you're going to be able to practice great listening skills because you're stable and you're secure. When you're emotionally stable, you're secure, and there will be no competition in what you're doing. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful time.
Wow, what a great session. I hope you have enjoyed this session today about emotional intelligence and how emotions can really affect worship teams. We will be talking about conflict management in the next episode, and Pastor Mercy will be taking us through. God bless you so much. See you in our next podcast.